Imagine going into a dark room, trying to rearrange all the furniture without turning on the lights. That's what it's like trying to work on yourself without awareness. Hi, I'm Lena, and this is Queen Formation with Lena. So this is a space for women in midlife where I really want you to see that nothing is wrong with you. You are not alone on this part of your journey, because I think that many of us in this phase of life, we are going through more or less the same things. And it's not the end, and you have so much more to look forward to. But it can feel a bit lonely. So this is a space where I want you to feel seen and held. And if we're going back to this analogy that I was talking about with a dark room, I think it gives a good picture of how important awareness is. Because if you want to change things, you have to know what to change. It's hard to make any changes if you don't know what's there. That's why you have to turn on the lights. So you can't just walk into the room. And I know that it's many times just feels like it could be easier to just not dig into things. But you wouldn't paint a house also without removing the old paint, and you scrape the old colors away so that the result will become as good and beautiful and sustainable as it possibly can. So this is the same thing. Awareness is where it all begins. And what that meant for me was really understanding what I was saying to myself, because I used to really be so extremely mean to myself. And I knew that it was going on. But I think what I didn't really understand was how much it actually affected me. Because I mean, when we know what's going on and we know that we are saying things to ourselves, but the fact that it keeps you from doing things and for going after things and for believing in yourself, I think that I never really understood that. I just thought that it was something that I was doing because I always been doing it. So when I began to really listen to what I was saying, how I was reacting to things, and how I was really thinking, it was kind of sad. But it's been needed, because then I knew what I had to work with. And after awareness comes acceptance. And to go back to this room analogy, acceptance is to decide to stay in the room. Because when you've turned on the lights and you've seen everything that's there, you can also choose to just run the other way screaming and not do anything about it. But acceptance is to choose to stay in the room, even if everything is there, you can clearly see it. And you have now decided that you are going to do something about it. And you don't have to like what you see, but you accept that it's there. And another thing that is important when you've seen all these things is to practice forgiveness. To forgive yourself for the way that you have treated yourself and the things that you have said and done. And this might also not always be the easiest practice, and there are many ways to do it. But if you keep on judging yourself and replaying these old things in your head, it's gonna keep you stuck. And it's gonna become so much harder for you to actually move forward. And you made a decision now that you want things to change, and that's great. And give yourself compassion and time and love to actually make these changes, because you are so worthy of this beautiful, amazing life that is available to you. But it's hard to build that when you have this foundation of this self-judgment and all these nasty things that we can keep saying to ourselves. And one other thing that I have had to work on when it comes to acceptance is to accept my body. And this has not been the easiest thing. Like I've mentioned in other videos, I have a long history of eating disorders, and that has really left me with a not that great relationship with myself and my body. So I had to come now from a different way of seeing it, and to not only focus on what it looked like, but everything else that it has actually given me. And I think that you can find all these other great things too if you focused on it. Because when I had to sit down and really write down everything that it had actually given me, I have two amazing girls. It has carried me through some really, really difficult periods of my life. And my arms give great hugs, and my legs are strong, and there are so many things that we can find when we shift the focus from just hating it on autopilot. So one great practice you can do is to actually write a love letter to yourself, from you to your body, and just write it out with everything that you are happy that it has given you. Because I can guarantee you that it's so much that has nothing to do with how it looks. But there is so much more to be grateful for. I promise you. I promise you. And to give it this love and care and affection instead. To give it what it actually deserves instead of all this hate. So it begins with becoming aware. Start to pay attention to what's in the room. And start to also see, how do you react when you receive a compliment, for instance? Do you say thank you and become happy? Or do you just brush it off? And now they're probably just saying it to be nice. They don't really mean it. What do you say yes to? What do you say no to? All these things, they say something about how you see yourself and how you value yourself. So these are the things that you pay attention to. And if this is something that you find interesting and that you feel like this is something that I want to work much deeper into, we do that in the program Unleash Your Worthy Woman, which is a program for midlife women where we get to see all these things in a totally different light and get to know ourselves on a so much deeper level. And then you can make all these changes and start to create an amazing life for yourself with a foundation of love and self-worth and all these other things that you probably haven't focused so much on throughout your life, because we're very, very good at taking care of everyone else, but we don't really give ourselves that same love and affection. So if that sounds interesting, you can send me an email or you can find more information in the description. But thank you for being here with me today. And I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Lots of love.